You see, throughout history, faith has been both a light and a shadow. The light, when lived with sincerity, has built hospitals, fed the hungry, healed the broken, and inspired hope in impossible places. But the shadow, when twisted by ego, greed, or control, has justified wars, silenced truth, and broken the very souls it was meant to save. That darkness doesn't belong to one denomination, one church, or one era. It lives anywhere that love is replaced with pride, anywhere truth is buried beneath tradition, and anywhere the voice of power grows louder than the whisper of compassion. So when I speak about evil in faith, I'm not pointing a finger outward, I'm holding up a mirror. Because the real battle between good and evil isn't fought between one religion and another. It's fought inside every believer's heart. It's fought in the choices we make when no one is watching, in the words we speak when we hold authority, and in how we treat those who cannot give us anything in return. And that's why today's message isn't about condemnation. It's about transformation. It's about tearing down the walls of pretense that keep us divided and rediscovering the raw, living power of genuine faith. The kind that heals, the kind that uplifts, the kind that dares to love even when the world teaches hate. However, if our goal is to speak with courage and honesty, to shine a light on the truth rather than to throw stones, then this message becomes something far greater than criticism. It becomes a call to spiritual awakening. Because corruption, hypocrisy, and the misuse of religion are not just problems in old history books or within distant walls. They are living forces that still breathe in the hearts of those who forget what faith was meant to be. They are the quiet poisons that twist something sacred into something self-serving. And when that happens, faith, the most powerful force for love, unity, and peace, can become a tool for manipulation, fear, and control. But that isn't the end of the story. It never is. Every generation faces a moment when people begin to wake up, to realize that God's truth was never meant to be locked inside a building or controlled by titles and robes. Real faith doesn't belong to those who shout the loudest about holiness. It belongs to those who live it with humility, compassion, and courage. And so the purpose of this message is not to destroy religion, but to redeem it. It is to remind us that spirituality was never supposed to be about domination, appearance, or superiority. It was always meant to be about transformation, a quiet revolution within the soul that turns fear into faith, judgment into mercy, and pride into love. When we expose hypocrisy, we don't do it to humiliate anyone. We do it to set people free. We do it because truth has been buried beneath layers of ceremony and doctrine, and the world is starving for something real again. We do it because the heart of faith, no matter what name you call God, has always been the same: to love purely, serve humbly, and live truthfully. So yes, this is a difficult topic. It demands honesty, it demands reflection, and it demands courage. But every great revival of the soul begins when someone dares to say, enough. I will no longer confuse the voice of men with the voice of God. That's the heartbeat of this message: to rise above the noise, to look past hypocrisy, and to find once again that sacred fire of truth that no institution, no hierarchy, and no deception can ever extinguish. Because when a single person decides to live out real integrity, when one soul chooses authenticity over appearance, the whole world begins to heal. For example, we can reshape our entire conversation not into an argument of labels and divisions, but into something far more powerful, far more necessary, and far more human. Because when we strip away the walls that separate one denomination from another, what remains is the universal struggle that lives within every believer, the battle between appearance and authenticity, between religion and relationship, between the mask we wear before people and the truth we stand before God with. So instead of pointing fingers outward, let us turn inward and reshape this topic into something that can lift rather than divide, awaken rather than accuse. Let us speak boldly about the misuse of faith, the corruption of good intentions, and the price of spiritual blindness, not to destroy belief, but to purify it. We can call it, when faith is misused, rising above the corruption of religion, or perhaps finding truth beyond hypocrisy, the courage to live real faith. These are not just titles, they are invitations. Invitations to look beyond what is comfortable, to confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes, even in the name of holiness, hearts grow cold and love grows distant. Invitations to rediscover the sacred essence that religion was always meant to protect: compassion, forgiveness, and grace. When we reshape the topic this way, we are no longer condemning a group. We are awakening a generation. We are asking the listener, each of us, to step into the light of self, honesty, and ask, what have I made of my faith? Have I used it to heal or to harm? Have I served love or served my own pride? That is where true transformation begins, not in the accusations we throw at others, but in the accountability we take for ourselves. Because it is far easier to denounce a denomination than it is to look in the mirror. It is far easier to call something evil than to recognize the seeds of that same evil growing quietly within our own hearts. But the one who dares to look inward, the one who seeks truth over comfort, becomes unstoppable. That person becomes the living example of the faith the world needs. That person becomes the sermon the world is waiting to hear. So today, we reshape this message into something bigger than division. We make it a message about truth, transformation, and spiritual integrity. A message that says no matter how religion is misused, no matter how institutions fail, the flame of real faith still burns in the hearts of those who choose honesty, humility, and love.